Hello class, welcome to another tutorial for the Digital Photography and Graphics class with Insight Schools of Kansas. This happens to be assignment 12 or project 12. Here's a rubric up here that I have for you right now telling you pretty much what needs to be turned in. It's worth 25 points. These 4 key points here, make sure that the image is created. Project 11 meets the criteria in the rubric below. Use Project 11 instructions. Make sure that you save one as Project underscore 11 and one as assignment underscore 11 and turn both assignments in. Yeah, 2 assignments, and here's the rubrics for them. The first one must have a layer, planet layer. It's worth 5 points, and be spherized to create a circular object that's been colorized and an inner shadow added. The 2.5 points for stars that has been filled with the background. 2.5 points for clouds that you're going to put in. 2.5 points for a planet that has an outer glow. 2.5 points for a flare layer, lens flare layer. So that's one assignment. The other assignment is to create basically the same thing, but it's worth 10 points. A pattern has been spherized to create a circular object. That's worth 2.5. The image has a background color. That's 2.5. And at least 4 filters or layer effects have been used in the image. So that's a total of 10 points. Both of them together is worth 25 points. Here's kind of an example. Here's the planet that's been spherized, made to look three-dimensional. This is the outer glow around it. And this up here happens to be a lens flare. You can also see some stars in the background and some gas there with it as well. This is a really fun assignment. It's the neat thing about it is you're going to start completely from scratch and make the entire thing. Now to get started, we're going to open up a new template. So in GIMP, go to File, New, and in this box you have templates. Go to the 800 by 600, click that and say OK. This will be the size of your document. Next thing we're going to do is get a planet started. Now this may be a little different than what your directions in Angel gave you. I'm going to do it this way so that we save a little bit of time. But go to your profiles under your local system C or disk C, profiles, your name, then the resource folder, project 11, and then select your file for your texture. I'm going to pick this one here. It's going to open up and it looks like this. So I'm just going to cut a circle out of that. I'm going to take my ellipse tool and drag it till I get pretty close to a perfect circle. I'm going to Control C or Edit copy that. We're going to minimize that, and then I'm going to paste it into this one. So we're going to Control Paste or paste that in like so. Make sure that your layer, we're going to go ahead and call this a new layer, and it's just now called pasted layer, but make sure that this is locked over here so we have a transparent background as well. Let's go ahead and double click on that and let's title that planet. You're going to have several layers and you're going to want to know what each one of them is by the time you're done. After you type in planet, make sure you hit the enter key or it's not going to lock in there. Now you can move that to where you would like it. I'm going to take the move tool, move it down into this corner. And with that, let's go ahead and colorize it. So go up to your image, or actually color, and you can work with color balance. And the little window is going to pop up, and you can alter the color of that. So leave that there to where you can see it. And if you want to make it kind of a reddish color, bring up the reds. I'm just going to play with this till it gets to your liking. I'm going to maybe go for kind of a purplish colored planet. Something like so. And when you get it to where you want it, just click OK. Now to make this planet even a little bit more three-dimensional, we're going to add something to it by going to the script foo. We're going to add a inner shadow. The inner shadow is what's going to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. So in this window, make sure your shadow color is black. Your lighting degree, you're going to want that around 300, so run that up to about 300. Then on the offset radius, make sure it's at 50. You can either run these up with the arrows or you can actually type them in. The shadow radius, let's make that 10 So I'm going to type that one in. The next one on the blur radius, let's make that about 70. And then this next one, anywhere between 85 and 100, let's make it about 90. Then make sure this shadow layer mode is set to default. Got all those settings, hit OK, and you'll see your planet become more three-dimensional. Alright, now let's make some stars. So let's make a new layer. Go into your layer box and type new layer, and let's call this one stars. Just type in stars, transparent background, say OK. And then let's have a foreground color of black. Make sure that's set to black and your background is white. And then we're going to fill that entire background, the stars layer, with the fill bucket black. So our entire background is black. Now if it shows up like that, just lower that below the planet so that now you still have your planet on top of your stars. Then to create some stars, let's go to the filter, then go to noise, then hurl. Yeah, I like hurl. Do the randomize. We'll set that to make sure this check mark is in the box to randomize them. You don't want them to be any particular pattern. Then let's do the randomization at 4. We don't want too many stars, but the more, somewhere between around 5 is what I'm going to set mine at. Actually, I'm going to go 4. You'll see at 1 there's quite a few less. 4 is about the right amount that I like. And then put the repeat at 1 and then click OK. That's going to add your stars into your background. Now you'll notice they have a little bit of color in them, so go ahead and go to color. And once on color, go down to desaturate. And that's going to get rid of all of the color that might have been in it. Next, let's create a cloud layer. So again, go to layer, new, just title this clouds, make sure it's transparent, say OK. And again, make sure your foreground color is black, and then fill that layer in with black. So again, we've lost our clouds for time being, but we're going to get, or the stars, we've lost those for time being, but we're going to get those back. Let's go to filters, then render, clear down towards the bottom, clouds, cloud difference, and then when this window comes up, make sure the randomize is checked, turbulent is not checked, set this to 1, and make sure both of your X and Y are set to 4. Then go ahead and click OK. Now you notice you may have lost your stars, but to get that back, on the cloud layer, go up and on the layer button, on this little drop down here, go to burn and click burn, and that's going to add those in there and burn them in. Now I noticed in the angel directions that's what it told you to do and should show them, but it didn't show them up in mine. So I'm going to click on the star layer, and I'm just going to run the opacity down a little bit and try to bring in those clouds to the point where I like them. So hit that to where you like it, and then leave that opacity down on the star layer. Another thing it asks you to do is to create a space gas. So with the cloud layer selected, right click on that and duplicate the layer. So now you have a clouds copy layer also. And let's just change the name of that to gas and hit the enter key. So now we have that, so we know the difference between these two. And on this layer, you're going to actually change the color of that and do some other things with it to create a gas. Also with that, while you're on the gas layer, click up here on the mode, again, the drop down, and go to grain merge. That's going to make your gas just a little bit darker. Then let's colorize that. So click on color, colorize, and you can change this to whatever color you want. Maybe you want some green gases, some yellow gases. Run your saturation up or down, whichever you might like. These are just a personal preference, whatever you like the most. And then once you've got that to what you like, click OK to set it. I again might want to take that down a little bit on mine with the opacity so my stars show up a little bit more, and it's not quite so obvious. Next thing we're also going to do, once you've got your background kind of set, is put an outer glow on the planet. So go to the planet layer, Let's go to the Script Foo layer effects and go to the outer glow. With this one, you can pick what color you want to put around the outside of it. I'm going to pick kind of a yellow. Say OK. Change your radius to what you might want it, and your opacity where you might want it, and click OK. You're going to see that it's going to add kind of an outer glow. If you make your numbers bigger, it's going to have a bigger outer glow, and you can always change that if you don't like it. Go back to it and click on it again, and I might want to make my outer glow radius a little bit bigger. Make it look like it's glowing a little bit more. Click OK, and you'll see that this is a lot bigger. Okay, one of the last things we're going to do is create a lens flare. So again, you're going to need to create a new layer. So go to Layer, New, and let's title this Flare. Make sure it's transparent. Say OK. Make sure your background, your foreground color is black again, because we're going to fill this in black. So go to your Layer, Lens Flare layer. Take your paint bucket, fill it black, and let's make sure that this is between or above your gas layer. So let's move this right here above the gas layer so that it's in that position. Then let's go to Filters, Light and Shadow, and then Lens Flare. Make sure the preview button's clicked so you can see where it's at. Position this where you think you might like it. You can move these little crosshairs to where you think you would like to have it, and then click OK. It's going to take it a little bit of time to render, and then it's going to put it into your picture. One last thing to make that show up, and if you didn't like it, do Control Z to go back and you can redo it. But to make that show up so it's not, all your other stuff isn't lost, we have to do the screen to it. So make sure your lens flare filter or layer is selected, and then click this little drop down and go to screen, and now everything else will show back up. That pretty much completes assignment 11. The next one, the second one you turn in, doesn't have to be quite this crazy, but I think you'll have fun and want to do just as much with it as well.